The Gold South Conference and its member institutions believe good sportsmanship is an integral part of competition. In order for good sportsmanship to prevail, coaches, student-athletes, and fans must display respect, fairness, honesty, and responsibility before, during, and after all athletic contests. We encourage fans to enthusiastically support their team, recognize outstanding performance of opponents, and always exhibit good sportsmanship in their words and actions. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Trustmark Arena for tonight's Gold South Conference contest between the visiting Christian Brothers University Buccaneers and your University of Montevallo Falcons. At this time, we ask that you please join us as we honor the United States of America with the playing of our national anthem.
Hello and welcome into Trustmark Arena. I'm Wyatt alongside Elizabeth Reinhardt for this Gold South Conference matchup between your Montevallo Falcons and the Christian Brothers Buccaneers. Both teams come into this matchup under 500, Montevallo at 5-6 and Christian Brothers at 7-9. Elizabeth, what do these teams need to do to find a victory here tonight?
I think tonight both of the teams being at the bottom of the Gold South Conference want to come out and make a statement, so it should be a pretty good game. We've got Christy Bowen leading the Falcons and Emma Lenore leading the Christian Brothers, and while Christian Brothers have played more games than the Falcons, the competitive level is pretty much the same, so we've got a good match here at Trustmark Arena tonight.
Montevallo coming off a loss on their home floor on Friday against UAH, 1-3, looking to bounce back here tonight. We'll be right back for Montevallo versus Christian Brothers after the national anthem. Hello and welcome into Trustmark Arena. I'm Wyatt Hall alongside Elizabeth Reinhardt to bring you this Gold South Conference matchup between the Montevallo Falcons and the Christian Brothers Buccaneers.
Number 4, Emma Lenore.
The starting lineups for the Buccaneers.
Number 10, Mary Catherine Miller. Number 11, Jenna Schoen. And number 13, Capria Manning. The libero for the Buccaneers is number 3, Blythe Closet. The Buccaneers are coached by head coach In-Shik Wong and assistant coach Courtney May Clifford. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome tonight's starters for the Montevallo Falcons. A sophomore middle blocker from Mobile, Alabama, number 1, Brianni Dixon. A junior outside hitter from Bloomington, Indiana, number 11, Bree Bloom. A freshman setter from Blanchardville, Wisconsin, number 12, Liz Tish. A freshman outside hitter from Fort Walton Beach, Florida, number 15, Evelina Tehran. A freshman outside hitter from Cumming, Georgia, number 23, Amanda Nugent. A senior middle blocker from Huntsville, Alabama, number 26, Christy Bohan. And the starting libero for the Falcons, a senior from Cypress, Texas, number 4, Grace Harris. The Falcons are coached by head coach Katie O'Brien with assistant coach Yatsa Tramoziano.
Elizabeth, what do you make of the lineup here for Montevallo tonight? A little bit different than what we saw against UAH. Brianni Dixon in the lineup and Liz Tish in there as well as the setter. We saw Harley Masoner start as a setter against UAH. What do you make of these adjustments that Coach O'Brien has made?
I think since Harley started in the game on Tuesday and she'll possibly be starting the game tomorrow, they might be giving her a little bit of break with letting Liz go ahead and start this first match. Also, Brioni Dixon has been having a good practice from what we have heard from the coaches, so this might be her chance to shine, and I think her first starting match of the season.
And on the Christian Brothers side, who are the key players that we're going to look to in this game?
Now, Emma Lenore is actually leading the team with 224 kills, and she's actually third in the whole Gulf South Conference with those 224 kills. So, 237 kills. So she's going to be their standout player for sure. She puts up big blocks. She's a very tall girl, so she's going to be tough for the Falcons to get around on that front row.
Lenore certainly having a fantastic season. And you mentioned Liz Tish. She has 126 assists so far this season. Harley Mason does have 259, but has played in more sets than Tish. And Harley Mason is our featured Falcon of the day. She ranks 5th in the Gulf South Conference in assists, so we'll probably see some dual play between those two.
Yes, definitely.
We'll get started here with Montevallo with the first serve. It is Liz Tish back serving. On the right side, blocked at the net, but out of bounds, so the Buccaneers will get the first point. It was Lenore on the kill, and a substitution quickly for Christian Brothers. Number 12, Erica Maurer comes in. And a service error there by the Buccaneers ties it up 1-1. Christian Brothers is coached by Inchik Hong in his 14th year, and Katie O'Brien is in her 10th year, so some experience on the coaching side for both teams here. And a great play at the net by Brioni Dixon and Tehran there. Not a very hard touch, but still they were able to get in position. Nugent.
That's all that matters.
And a lucky play at the net there. And Montevallo is up 3-1 here early. Similar to how we saw the UAH game start out, Montevallo was getting some things to fall their way early on. We'll see if they can sustain this lead.
Well, I know Coach O'Brien is expecting this outcome to be very different from the one that we saw on Tuesday.
And a substitution for Montevallo now. Michaela Henderson, the sophomore, will come in and give Amanda Nugent a break. Harris over to Tish, to Tehran, and a nice kill there for Tehran. She led the team in kills against UAH with 12, and she's having an outstanding freshman season. The libero Harris back to serve. In the net again, and Bohan tips it over easily for point number 5. Montevallo playing with a lot of energy and fire here early on.
Yeah, much different than what we saw on Tuesday. I think they were lacking a little bit of this fire that we're seeing right now, so I'm sure they were coached to keep that up throughout this match.
An attack there, but Henderson able to save it, and Harris sends it over. Again at the net, tipped over. Tish gets a hand on it. What a save. And Bloom sends it back. Again, tipped to the net. Reset on the far side. Blocked by Evelina Tehran and Christy Bohan. What a play there. Blocking number 11, Jenna Schoen. And Montevallo is up 4, 6-2. And that one just barely misses the line there. So an error on the attack gives Montevallo the 5-point lead. And this is a good matchup for both teams. Both teams have been struggling a little bit here. Christian Brothers is coming off 2 losses. Montevallo coming off the loss to AH. So both teams wanting to find a win here, have a good opponent to do that in.
Yeah, they're pretty well matched competitively, so this will be a good chance to kind of move their way up in these GSC rankings.
Schoen sneaks one in there, 7-3 the score. So tipped over, Tehran makes the save, and Henderson will bump it over. And into the net, number 10, Mary Catherine Miller. So another attacking error gives Montevallo the 5-point lead, and 2 substitutes coming in, Harley Masoner the sophomore setter, and Jamisha Edmond, the senior middle blocker. Masonry with the serve. And a service ace from Montevallo. That's number 82 on the season.
Which is actually second in the whole Gulf South Conference.
They actually lead the Gulf South.
Oh, they lead now?
They do, yeah, it was very close, but they do lead, yes,
Wow.
82. And a quick timeout from Coach Hong there. What are you seeing early on from Montevallo here?
I'm seeing Coach O'Brien actually playing a lot of her players who don't start that often. I mean, with the substitution of Jamicia Edmonds coming in, she's actually had a lot of playing time this week compared to what she has seen at the beginning of the season. So once again, this is just showing the depth that the Falcons have in their team, and that's just great for years to come that she feels comfortable putting out these first-year players. And even though Jamicia is a senior, she's a transfer student. So
Comes from Pensacola State.
it says a lot about the caliber of the players on this team.
We'll see how both teams respond after the timeout. Montevallo with a 6-point advantage here in set number 1. Masonry with the serve. And met at the net, but Bohan and Edmond can't make a play off of it. It was number 13, Capria Manning, on the hit for the Buccaneers. And number 7, Kealahani Wong, will go back to serve. And into the net, another service error. And Amanda Nugent is going to come in for Henderson. A little bit of change as well in the lineup. Grace Harris playing libero tonight. Michaela Henderson was playing it Friday against UAH. And last year, when Henderson was a freshman, we saw them switch out a lot. Could see them switch out again Sunday when they host Union.
Definitely.
What kind of advantage is it when you have two players that can play the libero position at an equal pace?
It's actually really great because being a libero it's a tough job. You're in for most of the game, and it's very tiring because you're leading that back row. You're expected to pick up pretty much everything. You're expected to lead everyone back there, regardless of if you're the leader or not. So it's nice that they have two players that they can interchange between that position because it gives one a break who can just come in and be a defensive specialist for that game.
And after a pair of service errors, Montevallo leading 11-6. And a nice hit there from number 4, Emma Lenore, floating it over the Montevallo blockers. This is the first matchup between these two teams since 2011, in which Montevallo got the victory. Or excuse me, the Buccaneers beat Montevallo 3-0 in the last game of 2011. But Christian Brothers has never won here at home.
And Brioni Dixon with that stuff right there on the Bucks back row attack.
And Liz Tisch will come back in, as well as Evelina Turan. Montevallo is still up 5. And as important as it is to start off with a lead, they've got to keep the lead throughout the game. We saw that come back to bite them against UAH.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how far you are ahead at the beginning if you aren't following through towards the end. So I'm pretty sure Coach O'Brien put that into their minds yesterday during their practice.
Tisch with the serve. Lenore, powerful strike, and Turan can't save it from going out of bounds. And number 12, Erica Maurer, will come in and give Wong a break. Henderson back to serve. Nugent in the middle, powerful strike. 14-8 the lead now. What a great play there from Liz Tisch to set up Nugent.
What an interesting play, actually, considering that Nugent is the outside hitter. Guess they're running some trick plays with this lead.
And Emma Lenore shows why she has 237 kills right there. Fantastic play, 14-9. And Henderson and Nugent will switch out once again. And that one comes off Harris's arms awkwardly out of bounds, and Bloom can't make a play on it. Montevallo still holding on to the lead by 4 here. Tisch over to Bloom on the outside, and too much on it. Point for the Buccaneers. And a substitution. Number 9, Claudia Chisholm will check into the game, a freshman from Savannah, Georgia. Seeing her first action here tonight. Dixon in the middle, stuffed but out of bounds, so point for Montevallo. And Christy Bohan will come back in. Bohan leading Montevallo in kills with 97 coming in to this game. And too long there for Maurer. So Montevallo still up 4 here as Grace Harris will go back to serve. And again, another long serve. So several service errors by both teams early on.
Another service error by the Bucks.
Wow. Now, Montevallo did have 81 aces coming into this game, but also had 75 service errors as well. So kind of balances each other out there.
Yeah.
Bohan in the middle. Montevallo with the point, 18-12. 7 points away from a first set victory. And a timeout by Coach Hong with his team down 5. What does Christian Brothers need to do here to catch up to Montevallo down 5 here as we're approaching at the end of this set?
I think Christian Brothers need to adjust to Montevallo's pace. It's clear that they're speeding up the pace of the game with the quick sets to the middle and the trick plays. They're hitting a lot out of the middle, which is a fast position. So I think that's stumping the Bucks on their playing time. They're going to have to speed it up or they're not going to catch up in this set.
And how about the play from both setters? Harley Masoner and Liz Tisch are both switching out and playing equal amount of time, and I think it's throwing off the Buccaneers.
I think it is too. Montevallo is actually playing a 6-2 where they have the setter switch every time they rotate to the back row, which is interesting for a college team, but it seems to be working for Montevallo.
Whatever works, right?
Right, and whatever works.
So both teams will get set to restart here out of the timeout. See what Coach Hong had to say to his team.
I'm sure one of the things he's telling them is to not give away points with the missed serves, just get the ball over.
Right, and Montevallo playing well so far, but having some mistakes in the serving game. We've seen several errors by both teams as well, but if there is a negative to point out for Montevallo, it is on the serving.
Definitely.
Here's Mars Masoner. And unable to return that, so Montevallo another point, 19-12. Manning on the outside. Bohan meets her at the net, but a point for the Buccaneers. Montevallo still holding on to a 6-point lead. Harris over to Masoner, slide play to Bohan, results in a point. We've seen that so many times, and it's so effective.
The result is the same pretty much every single time.
And we've seen it with the third and fourth different setter that Bohan has had to work with over her career.
Right.
And nothing changes. And a great block there by Christy Bohan at the net, meeting Mary Catherine Miller.
I think she's coming out with a vengeance tonight because Tuesday she was a little quiet for her particular playing style. Maybe she felt a little disappointed in her play on Tuesday against UAH, and she's definitely shown up in this first set.
Claudia Chisholm back to serve. Manning bumps it over, but can't get there. 22-13. Kind of an awkward set there from Henderson.
Yeah, that was a little tight to the net. If she wasn't going in for a tip, that would have been difficult to get over.
So Chisholm will serve again. Miller hits it over. Harris, Masoner to Nugent on the outside. Gets it to go 23-13. And this is the way you wanted to start out if you're Montevallo for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Montevallo kind of taking out their frustration, it seems, from the UAH game on Tuesday.
Oh, definitely. And this is what Coach O'Brien wants to see.
Miller in the middle, blocked. Montevallo keeps it alive. Masoner to Bohan, a little miscommunication, but able to keep it over. Nugent saves it. Masoner back row to Chisholm. Out of bounds. Great rally there by both teams. Did see a little miscommunication between Masoner and Bohan that we haven't seen here tonight.
I think Bohan was ready for that quick set, and she was just going in, and Harley kind of, slowed it down a little, and she was already up at the net. So it was a little lopsided, but it went over.
23-14. And I believe Chisholm was a little confused where the ball was. She was in the closest proximity to make a play on it. So a point for the Buccaneers, and Montevallo gets it back there. And now we are at set point, 24-16, as Brianni Dixon will check back in. Chance for Montevallo to take set number one here with Christy Bohan serving. Lenore on the outside gets stuffed by Brianni Dixon and Jamesia Edmond. What a fantastic defensive play there from Montevallo, and what a way to end the set. Montevallo gets the first set victory 25-15 here against the Buccaneers in Trustmark Arena. What did Montevallo do so effectively there in that first set?
They had very few mistakes. I mean, we saw a few miscommunication errors at the end, I think 2 or 3 service mistakes, but overall, every ball was almost in. They didn't have any mishaps where the ball didn't go over. They just played a solid game, which is not really much more you can ask for other than getting all your serves over too. So coming into the second set, I bet that will be their main goal, but that was a fantastic rally by Montevallo.
Well, Montevallo gets the first set victory, and stay with us. We'll be back for set number 2 in just a few moments.
I caught myself saying, oh my God, on the thing.
Thank you. If I'm talking, I miss a play, you can do it. Like, it's okay to do some of the play-by-play.
Okay.
Like you did it, and that was perfect. Welcome back into Trustmark Arena as we get set for set number 2. Montevallo hosting Christian Brothers in this Gulf South Conference matchup. Montevallo took set number 1. And recapping that first set, Montevallo finished with 7 kills. Christian Brothers had 6, but the big thing for Christian Brothers is 10 attacking errors along with 5 service errors as well. Montevallo only had 4 attacking errors and only 3 service errors. So Christian Brothers shooting themselves in the foot, so to speak, a little bit there in that first set. We'll see what adjustments they can make here in set number 2.
Well, it's hard to win when you're giving away 15 points for free, so.
Dixon on the outside. Fantastic play. It was a slide play, but this time to Dixon.
He's coming out strong in this game.
Having a fantastic day so far, the sophomore. A little bit glimpse into the future there with Liz Tisch and Dixon.
Actually, a glimpse into the future with the whole front row right now. The oldest person is a sophomore.
And miscommunication there as Blythe Clausen, the libero, tries to keep it alive, but puts it in an area where no one is at. So Montevallo up 2-0. Henderson over to Lenore and falls to the ground for a point. Dixon was there for the block, but couldn't bring it in. And Lenore will go back to serve. Tisch to Dixon, off the arms of Henderson. Another kill for Dixon.
And another slide for Dixon, too.
That's the 3rd kill for Dixon in this game. Christy Bohan has 3 as well. They lead the Falcons. On the outside to Maurer, off of Bloom and Dixon, point for the Buccaneers. And Mary Catherine Miller will check into the game now for Christian Brothers, as well as Michaela Henderson for Montevallo. Harris over to Dixon, but miscommunication there. And the game is tied at 3. Different start here in set number 2 than we had in set number 1.
Yeah, I think they might have been coming out. I mean, they've got the fire behind them. They've got the crowd behind them. But, you know, Christian Brothers lost by 10 points. They're going to come out a lot stronger than they were in the first set. And so Montevallo is going to have to up their game in order to beat their new strength for this set.
Tisch over to Tehran. And it goes down for a point as the blockers can't complete the block. And Bohan will come in. That's Tehran's 2nd kill of the day. Harris with the serve. Henderson saves it. Tisch over to Bloom on the outside, tipped at the net, and what a save there from Henderson to keep the play alive. Alexa Henderson, wow, what a play. That ball was like a centimeter from the ground. Incredible athleticism.
Was crazy.
Wong with the serve. Tisch to Bloom on the outside, off the arms of Wong, Montevallo point. And so Masoner will come in and give Tisch a break, but what a fantastic first few points from Liz Tisch there to start out the set.
Yeah, she's very consistent, minimal errors in her game.
And that one out of bounds, so another service error for the Falcons, number 4 on the day. And the game tied at 5. Henderson to Masoner. Bloom in the middle, gets it to go. Montevallo retakes the lead, and Amanda Nugent will check in. Wong sends this one over. Bloom, Masoner to Nugent, Off the arms of Wong again. Fantastic play there from Montevallo. And the setters don't miss a beat. Liz Tisch plays fantastically, and then Harley Mason comes in and does the same thing.
Yeah, it's nice when you can switch them out like that and there's no difference in the play.
This one floated up. Nugent over to Bohan. Off the arms of Manning, who can't make a play on it. 8-5, Montevallo leading now, starting to build a run here in set number 2. Miller hits it where no one was on the floor. Bloom and Harris looking around there as Miller gets the kill, 8-6. And that one is tipped, so Montevallo gets the point. I believe it was Miller who got her hands on it there. 9-6. Bohan. Henderson over to Lenore. Too much on it. Point for Montevallo again, as their lead is now back to 4. Manning comes off her arm and out of bounds. So an ace for Bohan. And Henderson gets a point there for the Buccaneers as she quickly taps it over. Montevallo can't make a play on it. We're bunched up at the net.
Yeah, seems like a bit of miscommunication worked out in their favor on that play.
And Grace Harris checks in for Montevallo. Masoner to Edmonds. Back row to Manning. Henderson to Maurer. Gets stuffed by Nugent and Dixon. Fantastic play by the freshman and the sophomore. And this game is showing a lot of bright spots for Montevallo volleyball in the future. Youngsters playing very well.
Oh, yeah.
Tisch to serve. Henderson in the middle to Schoen, who gets the kill. Montevallo still holding on to the 4-point lead. Lenore to serve. Tisch. Tehran, fantastic kill. Montevallo playing very well offensively here, communicating with each other. Setters and hitters are firing on all cylinders tonight. 13-18.
It's like they have no particular spot. They're hitting from all over the place. Players hitting from positions that they normally don't play in and still doing just as well.
And Dixon again. Lenore had a tip on it, so Montevallo gets a point, and Coach Hong is going to call a timeout here with his team down 14-8. What adjustments do Christian Brothers need to make here? They started out hanging with Montevallo here in set number 2, but Montevallo's just been perfect recently.
I mean, Montevallo's front row has just been handing it to them with the kills. I think they really need to get their blocks up. They need to stick them because, I mean, Montevallo, like you said, they're just coming out on all cylinders. They're just very, very aggressive right now, and it's hard on the defense for the Bucks to not have at least a tip off the block because these balls are coming so fast from all these different angles. I would tell them to get their front row defense, you know, sped up a little bit.
And what's even more impressive, they're doing it without Christy Bohan on the floor. I mean,
Yeah.
Evelina Tehran, Imagine Nugent, Brioni Dixon, it's fantastic.
Yeah, none of the normal players for Montevallo or the well-known established
The
players.
older.
Yeah, the older girls are really playing
And-
that much.
Right, and Bree Bloom and Christy Bohan are playing well when they're playing, but
Right.
the younger players that we mentioned are getting a lot of playing time and are proving themselves.
Right. And this is great coming up on postseason. I mean, going in the conference tournament, which is always going to be very strenuous on players. Coach O'Brien's going to have many different people to choose from, and it seems as if the play isn't going to be any different.
And the way that Montevallo is playing, it gives them a lot of confidence going further in this game and then going into the game against Union on Sunday as they're trying to turn around their season a little bit. One game below 500 right now, a chance to get one game above 500 by the end of this week.
Right, and I'm sure that's their goal for this week too.
Henderson checks into the game after the point. The Buccaneers, 14-9. Tish to Tehran, right on the line for point number 15 of the set. And Christy Bohan comes back in. Harris. Henderson. So Maurer on the outside goes off of Bohan and Tehran for a point. Long will come in. Harris to Tish to Bohan in the middle. Powerful strike there, 16-10, the lead. And a little bit of a trick there. I didn't expect Tish to go to the middle of Bohan, and neither did the Buccaneers as they were shifting to the left as Tehran was crashing on the other side.
Yeah, you've seen Montevallo run probably a lot of trick plays that they run in practice, getting a lot of practice on them right now in a real game.
Miller blocked by Bohan, but the ball is kept alive and sent back over. Masoner to Edmond. This one kept alive by Miller again. Masoner running into the stand, saves the ball, and Tish sends it over, or excuse me, Henderson sends it over. Lenore from the back row, fantastic rally. Bohan tip. Harris over to Bohan in the middle for the kill. And Montevallo deserved that one as Masoner went crashing into the stands.
Yeah, a lot of effort seen in that rally from both teams right there.
And this is a Montevallo team that we have not seen so far this season. I've not seen this team play this well. I mean, they did host a tri-match against Palm Beach Atlantic and Queens, two very tough teams, but fantastic play so far.
Well, this is the Montevallo team that we were expecting to see coming into this season, just judging by statistics and history and, you know, individual players, but we're finally getting to see what they can play as their potential. So,
and a lot of new faces to this team, so maybe it just took them the first 11 games to get acclimated to each other.
That's true.
And Henderson with the tip over, but out of bounds. So Montevallo another point in 18-11. This one similar to the first set. Toward the end, Montevallo able to pull away. Bloom to serve. Henderson over to Lenore for the kill. Fantastic play. We haven't seen that happen a lot for the Buccaneers, but it sure is pretty when it does.
Oh, yeah.
Masoner. Back set to Edmonds, but I don't think Edmonds was prepared for that. Good idea by Masoner, but
seemed that she went in for the quick set to the right side position, but Masoner went for the higher, more slow pace set. But a miscommunication nonetheless.
And as the Buccaneers get within 5, Coach O'Brien is going to take a timeout. Try and hold on to this 5-point lead and close out set number 2 here. And with those last couple points, the Buccaneers starting to play a little bit differently than they have. What did they do differently in that last series?
Well, their offense is finally seeming to come to life in this set. I mean, we really haven't seen that much from them, which is interesting to me considering that their players are very, very, high up there in the offensive statistics. So, I don't know. I think they just might have needed a little bit of time to come to life in this set. And you see Emma Lenore starting to get into her rhythm with some strong hits. And while they may not be kills, you can see her warming up with what she can play to, what she can normally play as. So, I think that Christian Brothers are just starting to warm up a little. Montevallo is going to have to keep on playing better as this game goes on because it's not going to be handed to them.
Right, and this is a Christian Brothers team that has 3 players over at least 100 kills on the season. Granted, they have played 6 more games than Montevallo, but they have the potential to be very good, and we're seeing spurts of that here. Just haven't clicked on all cylinders yet here in this game.
Right.
Masoner to Nugent, and a block at the net, but saved, and Bohan puts it home. Fantastic awareness there by Nugent to pick up the block, and then Bohan with the amazing kill, 20-14. What a way to change momentum.
Yeah.
Just as the Buccaneers started to pick some up. And Lenore gets it back there, squeezing it in on the line, and Maurer will come in for Wong. 5-point game here in set number 2. Henderson to Bloom. Masoner, Nugent into the net. Attacking error there. I believe that's the first we've seen from her today.
I was just about to say the same thing, but it seems that she knows what she did wrong because she corrected herself after she hit that ball into the net. Didn't even have to look at the coaches to get advice.
And Simone Maxwell will check in to the game now for Montevallo.
Somehow Harley Masoner gets that shank off of Bree Bloom's hand over the net, but Bucks respond with a kill.
And Maurer gets the kill there. And the Buccaneers, just like that, are within 3. Bloom into the net, but Dixon with the save. However, it goes out of bounds, and Montevallo can't make a play out of it. So 2-point lead now. Claudia Chisholm will come in. This is the closest that the Buccaneers have been within the lead of Montevallo since the opening few points. What does Montevallo need to do to turn this around here?
I think at this point they just need to do the basics of volleyball. You know, just play normally. Don't try and get the kills. Honestly, don't really play that aggressive until they get back into their rhythm.
And as expected, Coach O'Brien takes a timeout there after Montevallo makes some mistakes, and some uncharacteristic mistakes that we've seen in this game. And just like that, the Buccaneers are with it in 1. And how important is it for Montevallo to win this second set?
It's extremely important so they don't have to force a 4th set with the Bucks, because going into each set that you add on, it just gets tougher and tougher. And they played hard the first set, they've played hard this set, and honestly, Christian Brothers didn't really play that hard the first set, so they might have more energy saved up, and you really just want to get it done in 3.
And how tough would it be mentally, as being a player before, how tough would it be mentally going in to set number 3 if Montevallo were to give this set away, having been up 6 or 7 points in the set? How tough is that?
It's a little frustrating, but going into a 3rd set, it's not as bad. Now going into a 4th set, it's a little bit different because you're starting to realize, oh crap, if we don't win this one, then we only have 15 points in the next set to secure a win. And 5th sets are just so difficult, I mean, because you don't have the same amount of time.
20-19 here in set number 2. Henderson to serve. Masoner over to Nugent. Great save there by the libero. And a double touch called on Montevallo. Or, excuse me, on the Buccaneers. 21-19. As Liz Tisch and Evelina Turan have checked in. Henderson to Lenore. Some miscommunication there, but Brownie Dixon is able to sneak it in. 22-19.
Oh, I think she was waiting on that ball at the net. She just went up, perfect timing as they sent that free ball over on accident.
And it looks like Jenna Schoen was expecting the pass from Henderson, but it wasn't there.
Right.
So Coach Hong will take a timeout, 22-19.
Yeah, and I'm sensing a bit of desperation and frustration in the Bucks at this point. I mean, even though they're only down by 3 points, Montevallo is only 3 points away from securing this set, and they don't want to go into halftime for volleyball with 2 losses. I mean, that's
right.
That's tough to get back from.
As important as it is for Montevallo to win this set here, it's equally important, if not more, for Christian Brothers to win this set here, because then it's back to an even game at 1 apiece.
Right. Montevallo coming out of the timeout pretty early, already got their lineup on the court.
Very loose out there as well, kind of dancing with the music, and that's positive, something that you want to see from your players, having fun and being able to play their game.
Oh yeah, because on the opposite side of the court, we are not seeing the same.
And Tish will restart us with her serve. Lenore on the right side, gets blocked by Brioni Dixon and Evelina Turan, and what a game that Brioni Dixon is having here tonight.
Oh yeah, this will definitely not be her last game to start. She is showing up and showing out as a large smile goes across her face.
And Brioni Dixon sort of replacing Brianna Thomas, who kind of played similar role in similar fashion as Dixon.
Yeah, same type of characteristics as a player, very quiet and hard to read, but when she comes out, she's coming out in full force.
And very, very aggressive.
Yeah.
23-20. Turan over to Nugent, gets tipped but saved. And Maurer on the back set. And that one barely stays on the Christian Brothers side and rolls out of bounds, as Schoen tried to tip it over quickly, but Montevallo gets the point, and it is set point here, 24-20. Chance for Montevallo to go up 2-0. Henderson to Maurer. What a dig there, sending it back over. Maurer again to tap, and Grace Harris makes a play. Turan gets tipped on the outside and out of bounds. Montevallo takes set number 2, 25-20. The Buccaneers put up a good fight there toward the end, trying to come back from the 7-point deficit they were down in the set, but ultimately Montevallo gets the victory and is up 2-0. Talk about just the way Montevallo is playing.
I mean, Montevallo is playing phenomenal. Amanda Nugent is all over the court, picking up balls everywhere, hitting balls everywhere. I mean, she's just literally everywhere. She's playing phenomenal, and the front row is playing without flaws. It's just, I don't know, it's a pretty flawless game for Montevallo thus far. I don't want to jinx them going into the rest of this game, but they're playing very, very well on all levels. And what I'm noticing in Christian Brothers, if I'm being honest, is the only player they had for a while there was Emma Lenore. Everyone else seemed to be making a lot of errors. They seemed to be defeated and just, you know, kind of ready for the set to be over.
Right, and not a lot of communication between each other as well, and some awkward sets and just a very awkward plays from them. I mean, I don't really know how else to describe it. But so Montevallo up 2-0 here. We'll come back in about 5 minutes or so and get set for set number 3, a chance for Montevallo to sweep Christian Brothers here at home in Gulf South Conference play. We'll be back in a few minutes. Hello and welcome back into Trustmark Arena. Montevallo hosting Christian Brothers, up 2-0 so far. Elizabeth, what have we seen from Montevallo in this game?
I mean, what haven't we seen from Montevallo in this game is the real question. They've played a phenomenal game, a flawless game for the most part. Very few errors, a lot of communication, very high energy, which is very different from what we saw from the Falcons on Tuesday, which played a huge part in their loss. So it's clear that that's what they need to win games. I mean, they're just having a really, really great game. And Christian Brothers isn't a bad team. They're pretty well matched. They're just playing to their fullest potential.
Right, and this is a pretty even matchup. I mean, Christian Brothers 8 in the conference, Montevallo 11th coming into this game. As the block goes off of Dixon and Turan out of bounds, a point for the Buccaneers. Christy Bohan is leading all players in kills with 7, even though it was kind of a quiet second set for her, but 4 kills for Nugent and Turan, and then 5 kills for Dixon for Montevallo. So Montevallo really spreading the ball out. Game tied at 1. Nugent will go back to serve. And we want to remind you that Montevallo women's soccer is playing right now as well and is up 2-0 over UAH Huntsville. We'll keep you updated on that game as well. And following that at 7:30, the men will be taking on UAH as well. So a busy Friday night in Montevallo.
Really a busy weekend in Montevallo as the volleyball team also hosts another game tomorrow afternoon.
And an amazing kill there from Brianni Dixon. What a coming out party she is having here tonight.
Yeah, in that second set, she was hitting .667%. I mean, that's just ridiculous. 5 kills on 6 attempts.
If you're feeling it, you're feeling it, right?
Yeah, and once again, against a pretty good team. I mean, Christian Brothers isn't just a, practice team or just a fun little team to play. I mean, they're pretty competitive, so it's very impressive for her to get 5 kills in 6 attempts.
Montevallo has just been not making very many mistakes. I mean, I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, exactly.
Only 7 attacking errors for Montevallo in this game and 16 for Christian Brothers. Three to 2. As that serve goes out of bounds, another error for the Buccaneers.
Well, it definitely feels like the Buccaneers didn't come out of their little halftime break with the right attitudes. Looking over on their court, you don't see very many smiling faces or much communication between the players. And it's just error after error with them as another kill or attempted kill goes out.
And Brownie Dixon is flirting with her career high in kills of 8 as she's got 6 here tonight. Could see her surpass that.
That would be great for her confidence as a young player.
Bloom over to Tish Tehran. Lenore sends it over close to the net. And a carry there called on Tish, and she is upset with the call. So is Coach O'Brien.
Well, it was fingertips. It wasn't a true lift with the palm, so I could see the...
Really could go either way there.
Right.
And Nugent went over to talk to the official and is explaining to Coach O'Brien now his
The ref
stance.
says that she hit it with a flat hand, but it did appear to me that it was her fingertips and not her palm.
Tish to Tehran. And what a play there by number 3, Blythe Clausen, to keep the ball alive. Blocked again. Maurer on the outside and blocked by Bloom, but out of bounds. Montevallo very active at the net that time, but come up short. And Montevallo gets the kill there, 6-4. And an update on women's soccer. Montevallo walks away with the victory 2-0 over UAH. Allie Darnell scored both goals for Montevallo, giving her 4 on the season. And Miller barely sneaks that one in on the far side, 6-5, as Wong will check in for Christian Brothers. Harris to Nugent. Simone Maxwell sends it over. And Miller gets that one to go, and you can see the frustration from Montevallo like we haven't seen so far tonight. How do they get out of that mentally?
Just got to play smart. You know, they've got to pay attention. They've got to get good communication, send over tough balls. They'll be okay if they do that.
And a great save there from Henderson of the Buccaneers going into the stands to keep the ball alive and win the point. And they're only up 1, but Christian Brothers seems in control of this set, unlike we've seen them so far.
Right.
And Bohan with the slide play kills their momentum there and ties the game back up at 7. Christy Bohan is just so lethal offensively. There's really no way to guard her.
Right. Well, you don't really know what she's going to do. She's very hard to read. A lot of players, you can tell what way they're going to go, what direction they're going to hit, but you just don't know with her.
And a block there from Bohan as she shows up again 2 plays in a row and shows why she was a preseason all-conference selection. Bohan has had a very decorated career here at Montevallo.
Yes, she has.
And a lift called against Christian Brothers. Montevallo up 2 now. And Bree Bloom back to serve. Henderson. Bohan sent it back over quickly, kept alive. Miller, Harris to Maxwell, tipped, but gets it back, and Harris just can't make a play on the ball. A little bit of a miscommunication there, kind of an odd play.
Yeah, the net seemed to get in the way of that one.
Bloom will take a breather, and Henderson will come on. Masoner to Bohan, kept alive, and Lenore comes roaring back. What a kill from Emma Lenore, tying the game up at 9.
She's a very impressive hitter. You can see why she leads the team with over 250 kills.
And Nugent comes back and does the same thing, 10-9. Hard to believe that Nugent is only a freshman.
It really is. And she plays on the court with such confidence and poise. It is hard to believe she's a freshman, not only in the way that she plays, but in her demeanor. She just seems like a leader.
And Nugent there on the block that time, 11-9. Montevallo holding on to that 2-point lead. And a mistake there by Molly Wadsworth gives Montevallo the 3-point lead. And Manning will come back in for Christian Brothers. Lenore on the outside. How do you stop that defensively if you're Montevallo?
You hope that the block gets a touch on it and you can play off the touch on the block. I mean, that's a pretty hard hit to pick up.
Almost perfect there.
Right.
Nugent. And Simone Maxwell, aggressive at the net, gets the point for Montevallo. And Tish will come in for Masoner. And Turan will come in as well. Henderson over to Lenore, blocked by Dixon, and it sneaks in on the back line. What a game from Brianni Dixon.
Well, that actually shows how tough Lenore's hits are, considering that the deflection of that ball went all the way to the end line.
Montevallo now with a 4-point lead. That one comes off of Manning's arms awkwardly, and no one can make a play on it. So 5-point lead, and the energy on the Montevallo side of the floor is so different than it is on the other side of the floor.
Yeah. Complete opposite.
It just shows you the way the momentum shifts and changes here in this game. We see the replay of that block from Dixon. Incredible play there. And then another block from Bohan.
I mean, this set has just kind of been a set of blocks. They've had a lot of stuffs against the Buccaneers.
And really, the two areas where Montevallo is just separating themselves is in the errors that Christian Brothers have committed, and then in blocks. Coming into this set, Christian Brothers only had a total of one team block.
Wow.
And Montevallo had 7. So
right.
That's a big margin there, a big difference.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and on the game, Christian Brothers only has 2 total team blocks, and Montevallo has 12 as of the beginning of this set.
A miscommunication there. And Maurer will come in for Christian Brothers. 4-point game here. Montevallo trying to close out Christian Brothers here at home with a 3-0 victory. Turan on the far side, at the net, and on the floor for the point.
And she actually looks a little surprised as that one goes over and says, my fault, even though it was a kill.
Turan, another one of the outstanding freshmen on this team. Maurer sneaks it by the blockers, Dixon and Turan, and Nugent can't make a play on it in the back row. 16-12. Montevallo clinging to that 4-point lead. And another error made by the Buccaneers, this time by Lenore. (17-12). Maurer, the Tish pops it up. Harris over to Turan. Too much on it and out of bounds. 17-13. It's a great thing watching Turan play, but it's also cool to see her attitude as she doesn't get frustrated at herself. She knows when she makes mistakes, but keeps a good attitude, which is what you want to see from these players.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you want to keep that good energy on the court because everyone's going to make a mistake at some point in time, but the key is to not get down and set on that mistake.
Tish over to Bloom. Great block there from Miller and Maurer. And Coach O'Brien's going to take a timeout as Christian Brothers gets within 2 now. And coming into this game, we knew how important it was for Montevallo to get the victory here coming off the loss to UAH. But what would it mean for Montevallo not only to get the victory, but to get the 3-0 victory?
It would mean a lot to them because even though they did lose to UAH, they got one set against them. And honestly, that's a little more frustrating in a loss because you know that you could have won. I mean, you won one set, you know you could have won the whole game. But it's great for them to get this, if they could, in 3 because that just reassures their confidence going into this game tomorrow, which this game with Union is going to be a tough match. It's not going to be super, super hard, but it's not going to be easy. So they need to be prepared going into that. But coming off of the momentum of this game, if they could get it 3-0, that would be great for them this weekend. And then they could come out above a 500 winning percentage, which they're not right now.
And Union, a similar opponent as in Christian Brothers, they're 1-3 in the conference and they're 10-6 overall. Turan absolutely hammers that one and Lenore can't make a play on it. Montevallo up 18-15, and Maxwell and Masoner, our featured Falcon in today's game, checks back in. Henderson to Wadsworth. Bohan sends it back over. Henderson in the middle to Miller. Masoner makes a save. Bloom. Maurer on the outside, and Nugent is there with the dig, but goes flying out of bounds. 2-point game.
Both teams showing a lot of effort towards the end of this third set, which could be the final set.
And Christian Brothers has really gotten better each set. They've gotten more comfortable in this game. And part of that may be to playing on the road. They're a team that's 0-3 on the road has yet to really find their rhythm.
Right. But the thing is, it can't take you 3 sets to figure out what your strengths are on the road. Because by those 3 sets, you've already lost.
19-16 now. Wadsworth tipped. Nugent gets tipped at the net, kept alive. And Miller, Masoner saves that one, and Maxwell sends it over. Blocked at the net, but somehow comes back, and Nugent firing back. What a rally. Tipped again. Masoner with the set poke. And Miller with the kill goes off the arms of Bloom. What a fantastic rally by both teams.
Oh yeah, that was great. That was volleyball at its finest.
This is starting to be quite the game here in set number 3. The closest it's been out of the 3.
Yeah, they may force a 4th set. You never know. They're coming out with a lot of fire.
20-17. Montevallo 5 points away from a 3-set victory here in Trustmark Arena. Lenore into Henderson. Nugent stuffed at the net, but out of bounds. Montevallo gets the point and is 4 points away from the win, and Coach Hong will call a timeout as expected there.
The power in that last rally was just astonishing. I mean, each hit was just so much aggression. Even the dig by Michaela Henderson, so much aggression. It's awesome.
And both these teams toward the bottom half of the Gulf South Conference, but if you didn't know that, you wouldn't by watching this game. They're pouring everything out and playing very well. I mean, players on both sides.
Well, it kind of makes you wonder what the top of the conference looks like.
And Montevallo will find out soon on October 6th, taking on West Alabama, second in the conference. And they already knew West Florida. I mean, West Florida's undefeated in the Gulf South, and they lost in 3 sets to them as well.
Well, West Florida's also ranked nationally in Division II, so.
Yeah, West Florida is a fantastic volleyball program.
And traditionally a fantastic volleyball program too.
Bohem will serve out of the timeout. Lenore, an awkward kill there, and Masoner really can't get her footing under the set. Kind of an uncharacteristic error there.
Right.
Henderson to Masoner to Dixon. And they're going to say
that Henderson was in the net for the Bucks, but her team appears to disagree with that.
Right, I didn't see that either.
I didn't see it either.
Kind of confusing me on that. But Liz Tisch will go back to serve for Montevallo, 3 points away now. Brianni Dixon with the exclamation point, 23-18. We can't talk good enough about the game that Brianni Dixon is having here.
Right. This is very impressive. I think this is her first game where she has played throughout each set, and she is on fire. Definitely earning more playing time in the future.
Grace Harris pops it up. Nugent with the tip. Lenore sends it back over, but out of bounds, and Montevallo fired up is 1 point away from sweeping Christian Brothers here in Trustmark Arena tonight. And that one goes down for Lenore, 24-19. Substitution, Maurer will come in for Wong. Harris pops it up, Nugent, and Tisch slaps it over. Tisch to Turan, and that's the game. Montevallo wins 25-19, winning sets 1, 2, and 3 for the sweep against Christian Brothers. Talk about this game. Talk about the way Montevallo played. Who is the MVP here tonight?
I would say Amanda Nugent's the MVP. She was just all over the place, as I stated earlier. She just kills and digs and assists and picking up crazy balls, blocking very aggressive hits. I mean, she played a phenomenal game, and for her to be a freshman is just very pleasing for Coach O'Brien and for the other Falcons and for us as, students of the University of Montevallo to see this potential in our volleyball team, the potential that we knew that they had, but they have yet to really show it. But here it is tonight. So.
Right, and I asked a question about the MVP, but you can make that argument for several different players.
That's true.
I mean, Christy Bohan still had a heck of a game.
Brioni Dixon,
what in the world? Evelina Turan. I mean, talk about Liz Tisch as well, coming in and sharing the setting role with Harley Masoner. How does a victory like this transition into tomorrow when Union comes into town?
Well, if they keep this momentum and they play like they did tonight, it's going to be another sweep tomorrow.
Well, that'll do it for us here in Trustmark Arena as Montevallo Volleyball gets the win 25-19 in the third set and takes it 3-0 overall. And a great night in Montevallo sports. The women's soccer team just won 2-0 against UAH. And here in just a few moments, the men's soccer team, who is 4-2 overall in the season, will be hosting UAH as well. Come up here in a few minutes. So we want to remind you again that Union will be coming into town to take on Montevallo tomorrow at 2 p.m. So join us there. Elizabeth, do you have some stats from the
I actually do.
Brioni
hit at a .800 with 9 kills on 10 attempts and 1 error. That's ridiculous. That is so crazy.
And
Montevallo has a total of 10 team blocks.
And we're going to have Dixon come over for an interview real quick.